Hey everyone, this is the dialogue here. Thank you to Leon, the Patreon viewer, subscriber who wanted me to cover this video. This is on Roxanne Pallet, who is, I think, is an actress in the UK. This is the UK's Big Brother. And we've got a guy who is an actor also who came along and hit this woman in the side jokingly, and she's taken it all out of proportion and accused him of this and that and the other, and everybody's afraid that he'll lose his reputation and all that sort of thing. Let's have a look at the actual incident. Look at the guy with the white t-shirt at the back there.
I've got a little towel that I'm going to use. Ow! Woman beater.
Go on, what?
Bloody hurt.
Did it, sorry?
I was going to ask if you want your washing on, but I might shrink him instead. I might shrink them.
So there she is, being a little bit jokey with him.
Big Brother, that hurt. Can you call me to the diary room, please?
This is Big Brother. Would Roxanne come to the diary room?
I'd need to talk to somebody about something that's just happened that's made me feel...
Okay, so you see her leg is going up and down, up and down, up and down. So clearly she's agitated, she's angry.
really uncomfortable.
There was no malice and hurt or anger in anything that I did.
Can't believe you're letting somebody stay that's done that.
Are you alright?
No, I'm not. It wasn't play fighting.
Show me here what he did. Oh, no!
Yes! Yes!
Don't, just do it on me. You don't do that.
Okay, so she really gave him a good hit. Now, from her perspective, though, she is a very small woman, and to have a larger guy come over and just jokingly punch her, it would actually hurt. And so she's taken it all out of proportion and made it as though he meant it on purpose, and it was malicious.
This is why women don't say anything, because it's like turned around.
Just.
Okay, this is where I have my issue. My issue with this woman right here. There is no tears. There are no tears. There are no red faces. There are no red eyes coming out. Yet she's crying. She's crying words and crying. But she's not really crying.
This is why women don't say anything, because it's like turned around.
Yeah. So it tells me she loves the attention of everybody in the house. And because she's an actress, like most actresses and actors, performing artists, we love attention to a degree, you know. She's no exception.
Trust me. I would never, ever do anything like that. But I know what she's doing to me.
He's lying. He's lying.
Don't cry.
So she's taken the role of poor me and I am the victim. I think, from what I understand, she's played the victim a lot in her life, and it's actually given her a payback of some kind. That's why she continues to do it.
He's trying to manipulate them in thinking that I'm making this up. I'm not making it up. And he's tarnishing my reputation by saying this is an act.
Okay, so interesting.
Don't stand it. She's trying to ruin my reputation.
No, listen, Ryan, you're a really good man. Dan, it's perhaps worth thinking about why Ryan has not been removed from the house.
Okay, so she's playing up to it.
So obviously this guy was in her court until Big Brother had to step in and say, he's actually all right, the guy's fine.
She said, I'm scared to be in the room.
Oh my God, man, I can't even, honestly, man. Guys, if you was you...
Okay, so if we saw that pummel that he did to her, and she says she's scared to be in the same room with him, that is beyond ridiculous.
You'd be heartbroken, man.
I've done nothing.
You're accusing him of intentionally coming up and punching you in the ribs is a career-stopping thing for him.
Yeah.
It would ruin him. Do you honestly believe...
So when women falsely accuse men of doing something to them, when they do it falsely, I'm saying, I don't think they've truly thought through the ramifications when something is untrue.
Believe that he done that on purpose?
I think he would be very stupid to do it in a house full of surveillance.
So either she's calling him very stupid for doing it in front of surveillance, or it didn't happen.
Listen, let's listen.
That chair. Shit.
Listen to me. It's not, don't be silly. They all know.
So the poor guy was really upset with his reputation, the fact that he's been accused of something that he didn't do. Let's have a look at an interview of her.
So Roxanne, this whole situation started...
This one here, with Big Brother afterwards, a couple of days after she was kicked out. Let's have a look. Or she may have voluntarily left.
started almost a week ago now. There seems to be a lot of things unanswered, especially from a viewer's point of view. I don't know how much you've watched back.
Okay, so she was a hard swallow right there, guys. So she's ready for the onslaught, and she's like, what am I going to get here? I'm just going to speed this interview up just a tad, so it makes it easier.
Watching it feels like a completely different scenario to how it felt at the time.
It seemed like it was blown out of all proportion in your mind.
Yeah.
But even 2 days later, when you reenacted it on Ben, it was totally different. So how can you get something so wrong in your head?
How it felt when he did it, it hurt. I can't prove a feeling. No one can. The more I thought about it.
So, I mean, you can't dispute the fact that it probably did hurt because she's a smaller woman with no fat on her, so it's not going to be easy on the bones.
It became heightened, and I just felt, I convinced myself he meant to do that.
And that makes sense. She convinced herself by being the victim, playing the victim card, and just ramping it up.
And when I watched it back, the first thing I did when I got out was watch that. And immediately I
But surely
realised...
watching something doesn't change the way something felt. So then why suddenly do you have a different perspective on it?
So she's either very nervous, so she's got a dry mouth, or she's poking her tongue out saying, I know something you don't know, or I'm not telling the truth. And she shook her head a little bit. But
If it helped, if it hurt the same
It did
way,
hurt.
I'm not doubting that it hurt. As you say, only you know that. But if it hurt, it will always hurt. So why did watching something change it? Because surely it's the same incident.
Because I saw what every single person saw, and I don't blame anyone for thinking, why did she, first of all, make light of it, joke it off, kind of skip off? I'm more shocked at myself than anyone out there is. I need to go away and think about why I use humour when something actually bothered me in my mind.
Did you ever consider broaching the subject with Ryan when it happened?
No.
We've seen you in the house on numerous occasions when there has been subjects that needed to be broached immediately. You've gone and done it.
I
You've
know.
gone up to Hardeep and say, what have you been saying about me? Why didn't you feel like you should go up to Ryan and say, you know, and nip it in the bud? Why didn't he get
And
the chance
that's-
that other people had?
That's something I've asked myself in the last couple of days since watching Moments Back. I've questioned that too. And
And what answers have you got from that?
I think it was because I didn't think he liked me. And the feeling I had afterwards,
so it's like she's back at primary school. I didn't think he liked me, and so, you know, I just thought he really hated me because he looked at me funny.
was almost like I convinced myself that it was done with malice. And it wasn't, and I know it wasn't now.
Did you ever
Well, she's being honest that she did convince herself that it was done with malice when it wasn't.
consider the implications that it would have on him? Can you imagine if those cameras hadn't been there? You would have ruined somebody.
I know. I feel devastated.
Well, her head was shaking. I feel devastated. It's either that or she's trying to shake off the fact that she was directly involved. Shake, shake, shake. Or she's not quite believing it.
Cripples me with embarrassment and shame that I could have put somebody in that position, seeing the footage of Ryan in the diary room, distressed.
You did see him distressed in the house. You have the luxury of time,
I know.
perspective. Some may say research as well. You know, lots of people are not buying your apology. I think, you know, when you
I
take
agree.
all these things into consideration.
I fully agree and understand with every single person's reaction and perception to that. If I'd have been at home watching that, I would have been the same.
Yeah, most who can grow up with a little bit of head shaking.
I almost fell into this.
Did you believe your own story?
Yeah, I did.
That's quite
And it's
worrying,
true.
I know.
Roxanne.
She did.
I know. I felt genuinely disturbed by the fact that
I felt genuinely, okay, so she's using a qualifying statement to enhance the truth or convince you of the truth, which is sometimes actually not the truth. Let's just go back and listen to that one again.
I almost fell into this.
Did you believe your own story?
Yeah, I did.
That's quite worrying,
I know,
though, Roxanne.
I know. I felt genuinely disturbed by the fact that somebody had invaded
Had
my
done
personal space.
what everybody else.
Interesting, and she did put her tongue through the lips, which can mean I'm not being candid, or she could be dry. So I can't tell if she's dry or not, to be honest, but she might be, considering the situation. But she said genuinely, and she also licked her lips, so that's interesting.
Else has
else?
been doing
Yeah.
to everybody else in the house.
Yeah. But because Ryan and I didn't have that tactile relationship and he'd done that to me a couple of times, I almost felt like he did that on purpose. Why did you do that? And I was wrong, massively wrong.
That's such
I know.
Okay, so she did close her eyes and putting up her shoulders. So she's trying to say, I wish this didn't happen. So that is actually congruent.
an understatement.
I know.
though, to be.
I wish I had the words, Emma, to say just how gutted and ashamed. Hindsight's a wonderful thing. I got it wrong. Only I can go away now and work on figuring out why I became that sensitive that I manufactured a different version in my mind.
So what do you do now? How do you feel about yourself?
The fact that I used the terminology like woman beater and I used words like assault and abuse, I
mean,
can't
there was
apologise enough.
So unfortunately, she abused him by using all those words against him.
A lot.
I know.
A lot that you said. You repeatedly as well called him a liar to various people and that he was manipulative and calculating.
And that's
what
the
do you want to
thing.
say to Ryan?
The way he came across was not at all like that whatsoever. He's not a manipulator.
And his family.
Often we project onto others what we have, so I think that's what's going on with her. She had a degree of manipulation with the no tears coming down her face and whipping up a storm and the victimhood.
I know.
Have you spoken or tried to contact anybody?
No, and I wouldn't impose on them like that.
Do you not think they deserve an apology?
Absolutely, and I gave them that this morning. I want to again. I can't apologise enough for trying to label somebody something they're clearly not. All I can do is apologise and say I got it so wrong.
What have your family said?
They're
When you
gutted.
immediately came out of that house, what did they say about your actions?
They were gutted for me. They were
Gutted.
So she has a head shake. They were gutted for her. Maybe she didn't. In her mind, she's thinking, she doesn't know what a lot of them think, so she's just shaking her head. But some of them aren't, maybe.
For you?
They were gutted at the whole situation.
Or in what way?
Yes and no.
Well, I only have my mum. She knows how sensitive I am. She knows a lot of things in my past have made me a little bit too fragile, and she just wanted me to come home.
We've had over 10,000.
So that's interesting. She could be an only child, lives with her mum, or lived with her mum, grew up with her, so she's the apple of mum's eye. So she's probably had a lot of attention one-on-one, and she's not used to a big situation, I guess, you know, who knows, in a house full of people and guys.
1,000 questions come in for you. I don't think we've ever had that many questions come in. Ron Innes has asked, what is your response to other people who you've worked with who've said that you have accused them of violence in the past?
I haven't read any tweets.
There's been
that
a couple
come
of
off.
people who have said they have
So she didn't answer the question.
had similar, if not the same, incidents with you over the years. They have all kind of commented on being a compulsive liar, that karma comes back. What do you say to that?
It's devastating.
Regret in her lips there.
No one wants to hear that, not from anyone, let alone people you've worked with.
Does it make you want to look at yourself even more? Or does it question why they say those things about you? Or is it just quite easy to go,
Nobody could say anything to me that I've not already said to myself. Friend,
So she did put a tongue through her lips, which I mean, I think she's more cognizant than we give her credit for.
ex-management, it's horrible.
That's a lot.
It's massive.
That's a lot of grudges
I know.
to be holding.
I'm the most hated girl in Britain right now. It's a lot.
And I think she gets the payoff for all the attention.
It's a lot to deal with. It's a lot to...
Do you think you deserve that title, if that's the title you're giving yourself?
It's the title I feel everyone's giving me at the moment, and all I can do is own it, accept it, and apologise, and try and take each day now bettering all of those things that I'm realising.
What are you going to do? What do you do now? How do you put it right?
Like everybody that makes a mistake, I just try.
Ryan will be sat here. What do you want to say to him and his family? It's very easy to say sorry.
Yeah.
But to really mean it,
I mean
is
it.
a very different thing.
That's why I'm here.
I think she does mean it. There is a degree of sincerity.
I saw a situation that was innocent and misjudged, and that was because of me. That was because of my sensitivity, fragility, overreaction, whatever you want to call it. I'm all of those things. And I used to think they were just character traits, but they're character flaws, and that's what I need to go away and sort out. And for Ryan and his family and his friends and his colleagues and everybody that I've affected by such an enormous reaction that could have been devastating for him.
You could have ruined him.
I know. All I can say is I'm devastated and I'm sorry.
It's a huge lesson for you to learn and to deal with going forward. Do you think in time you can have a career again?
I am scared about the future, but I to be honest, Emma, I need to just think about it.
Okay, so my overall conclusion is that yes, she's taking some responsibility for the exaggerated incident that happened. And you feel sorry for the guy because he was very upset with being accused by a young woman of doing something that he didn't do. That could have ruined his career as well. But thank goodness everybody saw through it. I think she's used to playing the victim card, and that's the way she's rolled. She's gotten payback from it, and it hasn't worked out for her in this instance. She's living in the moment rather than living, thinking about the ramifications of her accusations. Hope you enjoyed this. Thanks very much to Leon. Fozia, if you are watching this, can you let me know what video that you wanted me to cover again? Was it the Parkland shooter? Hope you enjoyed this Patreon video, guys.